You're watching The Whole Living Show on Trajectory TV.
Imagine a verdant paradise that stands as a convergence of worlds, a living temple of native wilderness, a place where the full potential of inherent human and earth magic can be seen, felt, and understood. A space that attracts the brightest and best of educators on the leading edge. A place of permaculture designed for the benefit of future generations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Living Show. We are so glad that you are here. And this week, we have two special guests here. Amazing women. Yep, that's right. Amazing women, amazing, strong women who are out here doing so many things to help so many people. So I don't want to delay this. I want to bring our first guest in. Her name is Mrs. Kim Jacobs from The Kim Jacobs Show. You may know her from The Kim Jacobs Show. She is just a beautiful mom, a television show host, a philanthropist, and so many other things. But we're here to talk about what she's doing this weekend on Saturday, September 23rd, for her own foundation, Gabe's Heart Foundation. So welcome, Kim.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Tracy. And you do such a wonderful job at The Whole Living Show and everything that you do. So I just want to give you kudos and appreciation for what you're doing to bring value to this world. So thank you.
Thank you. So I don't want to delay this. I know that you have been doing this, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's been how many years now? I don't want to say because I don't want to get it wrong.
8. This is now going into the 8th year. It's our 8th annual walk in honor of my son Gabriel Michael Jacobs, and he was 12 years old when he transitioned from this earth. No, Mom, I never want any parent or anybody in families to experience sudden cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And that be the way that you find out that there is some type of defect that can and could have been surgically corrected. So I have a big passion to help families be able to stay together longer on this earth if God allows, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just amazing that you've been doing this for the last 8 years. I have had the honor and the privilege to be a part of it since I've been here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's been 3 years now. So I'm just so grateful for that. But talk, a little bit more about the awareness that you're bringing through Gabe's Heart Foundation.
I try not to be emotional when I do these
I know.
I can't. Sometimes I can't help it. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so the awareness is the fact that with young people passing away, they're experiencing sudden cardiac arrest, and is due usually to some type of heart defect or something that could have been surgically corrected if it would have been identified through what's considered an ultrasound of the heart. And that's not an easy process for people to be able to get ultrasounds done, because they have to go get authorizations, they have to go to get the cardiologist involved to get referrals and different things of that nature. But it's worth the fight to make it happen, to say, listen, I need this to happen because I have a family member or friend that it might be something connected to something they have going on, whatever it takes to get that ultrasound. And it's non-invasive, Tracy. So all you have to do is get the scan and know if there is a defect. And I've had people reach out to me because of Gabe's story. They found defects and got them surgically corrected. So raise awareness about that.
Yeah, amen. And now, you know, we're seeing a lot more, unfortunately, our young people, particularly in sports in high school, where there are issues with their heart, and we've had some young men pass away. So, you know, what you're doing is so significant to help, you know, parents, family members understand that, you know, these are things that we need to get checked out and be advocates for our health and for the health of our children.
Absolutely. And portable defibrillators, Tracy, I think also make a difference, because if you have to wait for like 12 to 15 minutes, I say those numbers only because I know how long it took with our family situation. Gabe was playing basketball, and he was with his dad and his the siblings, the brothers, they're all playing a game of basketball. But when that happens, to wait for the ambulance to arrive, which the people, when they arrive, let me give major praise and kudos and honor. They give everything. I have never, ever witnessed people give more of themselves than paramedics do trying to save a situation, whoever it is, fill in the blank, no color, doesn't matter what the nationality is. It's not about money. It's just they are giving their souls. But by the time it takes them to get there, if a portable defibrillator is there already, it might have allowed them to come and do their real work. So that's what we're raising funds for, to put portable defibrillators in every public space throughout the country, as many as we can. And we do have a donor that's willing to match. If $3,500 is given, they're willing to match $3,500 as well. So please, let's, any dollar amounts, let's raise it.
Yeah. And for everybody out there, you see the QR code here. You can click on the QR code and you can donate right here, right now. On the Whole Living Show. You can also go to gabesheartfoundation.org and you can donate there as well. Listen, if you are in the Charlotte or surrounding areas, we want you to come out on September 23rd. You can look at gabesheartfoundation.org and you can see where we're going to be. And Kim, if you want to just give me that here, I can type that. We can type that up and put it on the screen. There we go. Thank you. I just wanted to.
That's increased. We've got some money up there too, so that has grown a lot.
Amen. So we just want to shed some light here, and we want to just make sure that we're protecting our kids and our families. And you know, you just heard Kim say that they're going to be. Gabe's Heart Foundation is going to be putting public defibrillators out so that people can get the assistance and be revived on site with the public defibrillators until the ambulance can get there. So that's so significant, because you never know how long it'll take them to get there. And I know they're doing their best.
Absolutely.
Right? But there's other circumstances there. So we just appreciate you. So, you know, tell us a little bit more about what to expect on Saturday, and how people can get involved if they want to get involved when they come out on Saturday.
Okay, so on Saturday, we start first of all, we start off with this wonderful woman that's going to be stretching us to make sure that we're properly prepared for the walk, run. And this woman knows her stuff. She's the host of the show called The Whole Living Show. Right? So she's going to be out helping us stretch, get warmed up right around like 7:45. We'll start the walk at 8:00 a.m. and then we'll walk around the track 5K, which is about 12 times around the Northwest Cabarrus Middle School track. Families come out. A lot of people will come out. So come on out, bring your families. It's free to walk and talk and socialize. We'll have music, information, statistics, and then we'll have some water and refreshments for you as you prepare to go on with your day. Chick-fil-A gives a coupon for you to get a nice sandwich. So lots of different sponsors that will be contributing. So come out. It's free to walk. We'll have some t-shirts there, commemorative t-shirts that you can purchase if you'd like to have that as a keepsake with all of our sponsors on them for 2023. And you're gonna learn about all of this sudden cardiac arrest and how you can be a part of helping people's lives be extended.
Yeah. And then before you head out, I just want to also talk about, the other things that Gabe's Heart Foundation does, because, I've had the privilege of being out with you, and you give out so much. You were giving out, we gave out clothes during Christmas time. You bought groceries for people during that time period. So, I just want everybody out there to understand that you're out here making a difference in people's lives. And I always say, like, I love when I can meet the founder of an organization and you see exactly what they're doing in the communities to help people. So just talk a little bit about that before you go as well.
Yeah, the thing that we do is we call it doing it Gabe's way. And I love doing it Gabe's way because I really have the desire, not just me, but all of you and volunteers, the board of directors, everyone. We have a large group of volunteers as well. And we have a newly formed board of directors. And we go into the community. We go to grocery stores and ask the management, can we just randomly pick some people and pay for their groceries on behalf of doing it Gabe's way? And we'll do clothing. We go to the gas stations and just pump gas for different cars, random cars. We don't know the people. All we're doing is just randomly doing it Gabe's way. And this is our way to keep Gabe's heart to just keep beating. He was an anti-bullying mediator at his school, and the kids used to call him Guardian Gabe. And then, of course, he was named after angels. My mom is like, hey, Mom. He was named after angels, so Gabriel Michael, but we had no idea that until the coroner told us that he literally was not supposed to be able to come out of the womb alive based on the type of defect he had. But he came out and he lived for 12 years. And so I know he's in heaven celebrating everything that's happening. And I'm so honored to keep his heart. We call it just keep beating. Just keep beating. So Gabe's heart will always just keep beating.
Yeah.
Thank you and your son volunteer. You do way more than just the whole living show. You're on feet on the ground and making a difference in this community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love your heart, Kim. I love you. I can't wait till Saturday. I will see you on Saturday. So we'll be out there, everybody. Again, click the QR code here. We'll keep showing this throughout the night so that you can get this QR code, and the link will be on the show page. So everybody, just make sure that you participate in some way, shape, or form. You heard Kim say earlier, no donation is too small. No. So please just give from your heart.
Yes. Thank you for having me. And Michele, do a bang up job next.
And Michele is actually a physician's assistant. We're gonna bring her in. Come on in, Michele. We gotta bring her in because I know she probably has much to say here. She's a physician's assistant and she is feet on the ground. She's been all over the world helping people. Always has her feet on the ground, helping people medically, mentally, and emotionally, for that matter. So I just wanted Michele to be able to comment here and speak to Kim as well.
Hey, Michele.
I so appreciate, Tracy, you having us on in the same time and space. I appreciate you, Kim, for sharing not only about Gabe's story, but about your story, about the humanness that comes out. Yeah. And we all felt you.
Yeah.
And as moms, as women who engage with the health system and maybe aren't always heard or paid attention to. Yeah. And so I'm just so grateful that you said, please come on, Michele, because I needed to speak to you today. And so thank you.
You make me cry more, huh?
It's a gift. It's a gift because that whole human beingness, we don't get to see enough of that. We know how it must have felt, but to see how it must have felt moves us to get up and go and to say, yeah, I want to be there and be helpful in this situation. I heard a lot of the things you said, and I, as a consumer, as someone listening, I was, who should be getting an ultrasound? How should I be thinking about this? And so as I was listening to you from a medical standpoint, I was just like, please, as parents, don't think that, we're going to all go in and everybody's going to get a heart ultrasound because we had this conversation, right? No. But I will say, I know that a lot of times, especially in sports, sports physicals, that there are corners cut.
They do not detect that. Gabe was the bell of health. He passed every sports physical that there was. So
Wow.
that does not determine anything.
It doesn't determine a lot. And then there's so much variation in what they do on a physical. I know for myself, just even doing the simple step of doing the EKG, I have found abnormal heart rhythms on young teens, and hey, we need to get this investigated before you go play.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just feel like there's not always that consistency. So when you have a child that's tired after activity, when you have a child that, hey, in the family, there's something that we don't know why, but people drop dead early, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure we add those kind of criteria so people know, hey, maybe this is something I should be thinking about, and that will help me in getting insurance to cover a test and getting my provider to acknowledge that this is something serious. So
Yeah.
God created the doctors too. Sometimes people dismiss and discount health professionals like yourself, and just the fact that your gifts and talents really do make a difference. When I'm on my show, I tell people, listen, everybody don't believe in the doctors' theories or whatever, but we love the doctors too, because they matter, and God gave them their gifts too. So I just want to acknowledge that.
And the more and more we see and engage with people who understand our complex stories, who understand our relationship with healthcare and why we don't necessarily trust, the better that we'll get at that relationship that we're building. So thank you for the love for healthcare providers. And we have to be more than that with one another. We have to be community with each other.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you.
Yeah, right? Right. And that's really what it's all about, right? Like, you should be an advocate for your own health, but you be intentional about building the relationship with the doctor, right? So that you both have an understanding for one another, and that you can, say, okay, to your doctor, I have these concerns and I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. Can you please help me? The more you pay attention to your own body and really be able to communicate with your physicians, you will get the help that you need. So thank you,
Being
Michele.
your own advocate. Being your own advocate. And also, Tracy, can I say I have 4 children that are amazing here, that are still here on this earth as well. I'm a mom of 5, and Gabe is always my son. He's still my son. So anytime I sign cards or anything, I always put his name, Gabe from heaven. I never leave him out of anything. But I do want to acknowledge that I do have 4 incredible children that are doing significant things on this earth, and 3 battle cystic fibrosis. They kick it in the head every year and raise $2.2 million for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation last year.
Yeah. Your children are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just beautiful people. But that just comes from you and your beautiful mom who's watching as well. Yeah.
Thank you all. Y'all enjoy your time together. Y'all go ahead.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Kim. Ooh, wow. That was so good. And I just knew that you needed to come in on that, Michele. Just because of what you do and because of who you are also. So thank you for your words as well and your compassion. There we go. We got, and I didn't like introduce you formally, but this beautiful young lady is known as the pain-free PA. She's also the stress strategist. I got to tell you something. I have to say this. One thing that I really love about you, and I was noticing this when you were on Fem Talk, and then also just you listening here this evening and then sharing. You're so intentional, and you just really listen, right? And really absorb. It's like I could see it all over your face, but it's like you're taking it all in. I don't know how else to explain it, but I just see you absorbing everything, right? That people are saying, and that you're really absorbing it, really taking it in, and really considering everything. And maybe that's the better word, considering everything. And then what you come out with, what you give after doing that is so powerful. So I just wanted to tell you that because I saw that when we were watching Fem Talk. And when we were doing Fem Talk, and then here tonight, and I'm like, wow, this young lady is so powerful. So I just appreciate you for that because I know that it comes from a real place. That's what I wanted to say. That sums it up. It comes from a real place. So thank you for that.
Well, Tracy, you're my soul sister.
Yes.
Yeah, you're my soul sister. So I
Yes.
think what happens is we pick up on the energy of what's
Yeah.
supposed to be happening in our
Yeah.
orbit right then.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the love and the praise
Yeah.
and the sisterhood. But really, it's that ball of stress and restlessness and
Yeah.
pain that I was,
Mm.
and what I've seen so
Mhm.
many of our high achievers, our leaders. You've
Yeah.
experienced this because the stress that impacted your body and manifested in disease. So like
Mhm.
we we all have these ways.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning as I tap inward and learn all these things about how to uncover self and be more aware
Yeah.
is not only does the stress and the illness and stuff melt away, but that gift shines forward.
Yeah.
That's my gift. My superpower is to listen.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And I love the way you just talked about like it's just that peace that you have now, right? And I know some of your story that I would love for you to share here too about, understanding, living and having illness manifest in your physical body, right? And even more so, right? Because it does a lot to your emotional
Mm,
state and your mental state, right? So I wanted to share some of that because to be able to go from what you've described, and I've heard you say it on lives and speak about it on stage, but to understand where you are now versus where you were and how far you've come, to give us kind of a little bit of that journey.
absolutely. I think, like we were talking about with Kim, sometimes we need to hear the humanness
Yeah,
in order to move our feet.
yeah.
And I don't know who's listening tonight. I don't know who's out there who needs to hear this story, but I guess I'll tell it this way. I'm a young black girl from the west side of Chicago. Yeah. Um, Growing up in that culture of hustle and trying to claw and get and go after your dream. It's all about how you gonna make some money. What is your lick? We
Mhm,
say that in Chicago. What's your lick?
mhm,
And for me, I was out here doing the most.
mhm,
You know how it is to be super busy. You are going to school, you working, you participating in the church, you're dancing, and you're singing in the choir. Listen, I was 23 years old, rehearsing for a church dance that we were doing at the Chicago Theater. And I started to get so tired and so exhausted. And I would just pass out on the way to work. I would fall asleep in between stop signs.
Wow. Wow.
I would get up in the morning and my legs wouldn't work. I would have to crawl to the bathroom. And you go to the doctor and like Gabe, it's a picture of health. 23-year-old dancer. They were like, "Ain't nothing wrong with your blood work. You doing just fine. We don't know what you tired because you're doing too much, right? Eat well, drink some water."
Mhm.
I went to 8 doctors before someone checked an obscure test that happened to become positive. And if many of you are in medicine or have had a rheumatological or autoimmune disease, it was my ANA that was positive. ANA can be positive even in people with absolutely no disease.
Mhm.
But I remember being told, you have an illness that is going to hurt, cause pain every day for the rest of your life.
Wow.
You will be fatigued. You will not be able to participate in things, and likely you will need to be on disability. Because who is going to hire you
Mm-hmm.
You can't be predictable with your health.
Wow.
This happened at 23.
Mm-hmm.
And so while sitting in the disability office trying to get some support, living in my one backroom apartment with roaches and rats, the disability office denied me.
Wow.
I remember the lady looking me up and down and saying, "There's nothing wrong with you." And
Wow.
that,
And is this in spite of,
the
what the
doctor,
doctor
yeah,
said? Wow.
because you can look a certain way, and
Mm-hmm.
many of us who battle stress, anxiety, depression, who battle autoimmune illness, you can look so healthy on the outside. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was a dancer. I was getting ready to perform,
Yeah.
and still, with that denial, I had to figure it out. And what I love about what we are talking about in these shows and having these discussions, especially as women who are Black women,
Mm-hmm.
is that we're not being told to suck it up. We're not being told to be strong and keep moving. We're
Mm-hmm.
being told to listen in,
Mm-hmm.
hear what your body is trying to say,
Yeah.
to investigate, be an advocate for yourself. And so that's what we've learned so far in this show. And by not having those things back then, 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I lived for 21 years with chronic pain. But in spite of that, I became a physician assistant, a author. I traveled the world to Cuba and China learning about holistic medicine and how to be an incredible leader. And it's only been 3 years now, but I am pain free.
Woo! Hence the name, the Pain Free PA. And thank God, thank God for that. Thank God for that. But I love how you just talked about, just us being women and listening in, right? Because I can remember when, I experienced some pain, and had I not really listened in and listened to my body and listened to what the divine was telling me, I would have ignored it, and it could have been a lot worse. But I said, no, something's not right, and this is a sign. And
Mm-hmm.
all the doctors were saying, well, pain was not really attributed to cancer, especially in the earlier stages. So had I not listened in and really focused on what was being told to me and paid attention to my body, I would have never known that I had cancer, probably until a lot later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love that you're saying that. People, we have to get to know ourselves, and what's happening to us and what starts to resonate, right? And it doesn't necessarily just mean that it may not be a migraine, right? It may not be a rash. It may not be, joint pain. It may be something that's happening here, right? It may be something that's happening here also. And it could start to manifest physically, but it could start somewhere else.
Well, that's why we're whole people.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about the whole living show.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of our time is spent in our head. We've been taught that our logical brain is the king force and how we should operate. Let's think this through. Let's plan. But we also have a heart
Yeah.
brain, and we have a gut
Brain.
brain.
Mm-hmm.
And these secrete hormones, secrete signals
Mm-hmm.
from the stress that comes in on us.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, they estimate 75 to 90% of the reason why people come to the doctor is stress-related illness. So don't discount the things happening in your life, in your environment, in your survival mode
Mm-hmm.
as contributing to what's happening to your body.
Yeah. And okay. So I got to take it there because you just said survival mode.
Yes.
And, most people are living in survival mode all day long.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that and then tell people how to come out of that. Because you just mentioned earlier how you found your peace, really, right? Talk to people about that survival mode.
I think, and I know our topic today is disrupting stress, and I know we have kind of jumped into the middle of a spiritual conversation, because I don't know if y'all hear it. We done went to a spiritual conversation.
Yeah.
And as a scientist and a coach and a trainer, I want to make sure we level set the room with what we just said. You said, hey, Michele, let's talk about that survival mode. So many of us who are in survival mode may not even know what that means or what's happening. So I want to just make sure we level set. When we're in a state of survival, that's making sure we have enough to eat, making sure we have enough to drink, and that we have shelter. Those are the things we need to survive physically. We know from all those studies of the Romanian babies that if we're touched, if we're not loved on, even from an early age, that impacts our emotional health.
Yeah.
But also our environment, right? If we have parents who believe that, everything should be a spanking, if we have parents who believe that we shouldn't talk about emotions, environmental things affect how we think about our survival. So you're not in the space of, man, how can I thrive? How can I dream? How can I do well? How can I prevent illness in my body? You're thinking of, how can I eat? How can I drink? How can I keep shelter? How can I stay out of fear?
That's good.
So when you're in a state of fear and survival, it's very difficult to have courage. It's very difficult to think about what's the healthiest thing to eat. It's very difficult to think about, how to love on someone. You don't even have love on yourself. You're in survival. And so that's what we're talking about. When you're like that, what things can manifest? You're restless. You're busy all the time. You maybe don't have time for your emotions. You don't have time to have that conversation with your kid that you know that you need to have. Hello? Because they're walking. They're walking out every day, and man, I really need to talk to them about that conversation that I overheard with their classmate. I really need to pour into their self-esteem right now, but I ain't got time.
Yeah.
You can't be in survival mode and have those deep conversations.
Yeah.
So if we are at the same level of understanding now, that's what we mean by survival mode. Is there more to it for you?
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Because I think it's a response to all the things that you just mentioned, right? The simple things, or the things that sometimes some take for granted, right? But the things that we really need to get by. So I appreciate that definition. So talk to us, because you help people, manage stress and find their peace. So I want people to think about this part, and then we're gonna come back after a commercial break and talk about that. But I want you to tell people now how to, one, identify the stress, right? Because some people, like you just said, they don't know they're in survival mode. Sometimes they don't even know they're stressed out, right? So identify the stress, manage it and deal with it, and then how to come out of it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, everybody, and we will be right back.
Without truth, freedom doesn't exist. My soul has always been based on the principles of freedom, which is getting to the core or truth of an issue. Choosing the name Radical Press embodies me. When you look at the etymology of the word radical, it's about getting to the root of shit, derived from the Latin word radix, which literally means root. Press is the medium in which we use. Press can be in print, video, voice, or any type of media that gets information to the people. Radical Press magazine is about bringing truthful information and real knowledge to the people through a different lens.
Operate out of your dreams and your vision and not other people's expectation. Having breast cancer wasn't my choice, but the decision to live healthy so that I could stand before you here today, that's choice. You can choose this very moment to change your life from every perspective.
Tracy Randolph was our speaker. She came back because so many people liked her first presentation. I was one of those people that joined her fitness group, and it made me a better leader.
I grew up in a community, but they had limiting beliefs on what a little black girl could do. Everything that you do in this life is a choice. I choose to live healthy. I choose to change my mindset. I choose to be everything that I dreamed of because I choose faith and I choose me. Live healthy, be everything that you can be today. Choose yourself.
All right, everybody, and we are back with the pain-free PA, the stress strategist, Michele Johnson. I just want to mention radicalpress.org. You know, everybody out there, please go to that website. You will be amazed at that magazine. The first issue dropped on August 20th, second issue coming out on September 20th, which is today. It is today. So I want you to go and look at that magazine. I'm telling you, it's a whole experience. So just go to the magazine. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. So before we took that break, Michele, we're going to get into stress now. And I asked, you know, how to identify it, how to manage it, and then how to, you know, kind of get through it or get past it.
I love that we are on this time period of a show. We're taking on this topic.
I know.
How we go identify, manage, and come out of stress to find our peace of mind. And what I say, the way I say it that way is because I'm knowing that anything that I say to you guys this evening, there's going to be things that kind of, whoof, I'm going to forget tomorrow. I'm going to forget when I log off. And there's going to be that thing that maybe resonates with you that you can take and peel at, touch, and uncover. And so my aim is to make sure that you walk away with one thing you resonate with, whether it be something Tracy said, Kim said, I said, but that you take that one thing and just peel away at it, okay? When it comes to stress is like the river that became the Grand Canyon. It starts off as a little trickle. And for most of us, we have a tail. Just like in poker, when you're playing cards, some people like wrinkle their eyes a little bit. Some people, you know, wrinkle their mouth. For many of us, our first sign of stress is maybe I clench my jaw. Maybe I get a little knot in my gut. Maybe I start to get headaches every day. You typically know your sign. If you do not know your sign, if there's not something in your body that gives you an indicator that you are stressed, I'm nervous because that means you have disconnected from your body.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I just want you to repeat that so people can really get that. Repeat that.
Yes. For many of us, like I said, there's a tell. Either you clench your jaw or you get a headache. If you do not know what your tell is when you're starting to be stressed, I'm concerned that you may have disconnected from your body. And that's the folks who don't know they're stressed.
Yeah.
That's for many of us running around and everybody else can see you stressed. People telling you to sit down. People can feel the energy off of you. They avoid it. They step back. They don't want to be around you. You're anxious. You can't keep focused on one thing. You can't unplug. You can't relax. That's a disconnect. And as someone who has a self-sabotager premiere of restlessness and like restless and be my
we are sisters.
right? I had to realize that all that rushing, all that multitasking, all that trying not to feel, trying not to deal with the hard stuff, trying to get busy and proficient was a mechanism to avoid feeling the stress.
Yeah.
And that's so common amongst high achievers. So I want to make sure I bring that up. I work with a lot of leaders, CEOs, folks who are in organizations leading others. And for many of us, we have had this special skill, this brilliance, this thing that we can do. We likely have lots of letters behind our name. Hello. And have no idea that we are eroding in our body from stress.
Yeah.
So, identifying it, if you are disconnected, how do you reconnect to your body? I would absolutely recommend either getting coaching, like from a guy like myself or Tracy, to reset. I love it, the reset coach. I love it. To really get back into recognizing what is my body signals telling me. There's a lot of ways to do that. Some folks like to do like hypnotherapy. I have so many resources, so many members of my team that perform things differently.
Mm.
I know there are so many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
So how to identify it? Your body gives you a tell, or if you're disconnected, you're doing things that other people will let you know if you ask them.
Mm. That's good. And that's the key too, the last part of that. If you ask them.
Ask
Right.
honest questions, stuff you really want to know the answer to. A lot of
Mhm.
us are going around fulfilling these dreams, going after these accolades, getting the things that we were told we should want, and you
Mhm.
still feel unfulfilled. You still feel restless. You still feel unjoyful and sick.
Mhm.
That's stress.
Mhm.
That's sneaky stress. That's stress that's looking like hyperachievement. That's stress that's people pleasing. That's stress that is hyper vigilant. You're trying to take care of everything A to Z because maybe things weren't taken care of when you were little. Now,
Mhm.
there's a lot of deepness to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But identifying was what you asked me first. How do we manage it?
Mhm.
Well, we talked about it a little bit. That reconnection of your mind to your body is a huge deal. For me, doing positive intelligence, doing mind body healing work has really been the key to uncovering getting away from pain, but also to uncovering, hey, how am I self sabotaging myself with this restlessness, with
Yeah.
this trying to achieve one goal and then not being happy because I don't know how to be happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned something key too. You said the mind body healing. Um, what does that look like? Like, give people some things that they can do to reconnect there.
Some big triggers. And I know I got folks in the DIY camp and folks who like, please help me camp, right?
Mhm.
So for those of you who are in the DIY camp, what can I do for myself?
Mhm.
You have 101 to-do list, plan list, technique list. Let me tell you something. You already have everything you need.
Mm.
You already have everything you need. You don't need another certification course or class to figure this out.
Mm.
You can go on a walk with yourself, get back to nature with yourself, engage your five senses with yourself, and really listen inward. Now, what does that mean? Michelle, bird songs have been shown to improve depression for like 70% of your day.
Mm.
Do you know that YouTube has like whole channels dedicated to bird songs? That if for 10 minutes in your day, you just listen to the bird songs and drop into your body and see, well, what feels on, what feels off. That's my DIY, folks, a way to reconnect.
Wow.
For my
I didn't know
yes, I like all
that.
kinds of cool stuff. Is I mean, you got to be in this stuff to be learning all the new things that come out. But there's so many ways to just drop in, and that's why I said there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are looking for advisement, help, I believe in coaching as a modality. Coaching saved my life.
Yeah.
I had been to therapy. I had been to doctors. Hypnotherapy and coaching, because it dips into those real questions of you uncovering what you will do and moving you from where you are now to where you want to be, can be extremely helpful. Now, I say that because it made me become a coach. Now, as a physician assistant, I was making a good living.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. I ain't need no new job.
Right.
I became a coach because I saw the impact on my own life and the lives of others as I learned how to be a proficient coach. And so I mentioned that because sometimes it's, hey, I'm really dealing with something, and being out in nature, reconnecting to my body, having a routine for myself that feels good, that increases my joy, leaning into the things that give me energy is not enough. I need some help.
And did the coaching, because you're still a physician's assistant, correct?
I am. I'm leaving soon.
Oh, okay. So we just heard this here. But
Uh,
I wanted to add though, just to talk about how the coaching helped with the physician's assistant.
Absolutely. So I will tell you guys, I thought, because we talked about having a gift and having intuition, being a listener, that is really, really helpful in medicine. Because y'all tell on yourselves, y'all tell most of the stuff, right? So it makes my job a lot easier that I could listen. But I thought I was coaching people. I was not coaching people. As a physician assistant, I hear your history. I make a recommendation based on my medical knowledge. What I learned from coaching is that you have so many answers, and I need to ask the right questions to unveil those. And so as a physician assistant, what it taught me is I could get greater impacts. I have helped people lower their diabetes from 13 A1C to 5.9 by coaching them. I have helped Fortune 500 leaders go from pissing everybody off and about to fall off the road because they're so anxious to being able to lead their team with ease and flow. And so I really feel like the impact that I can make as a coach has outpaced what I can do one-on-one in the exam room. So I say that because, guys, there is so much waiting for you on the other side of survival, fear, the identity of what you do. There's more. There's a whole living.
Yeah, I love that. I have to say, like, I gotta give the physician's assistants out there their kudos because, and this is not to knock our doctors, but I know when I was going through cancer, the physician's assistant in my oncologist office was the best, and she was always my first point of contact. And I usually got through whatever I needed to get through or got the answers that I needed. So any of the questions that I had, it was usually from her. I'll be honest with you. Because she was so attentive and she loved what she does. She did, does, right? Because she's still there, but, loves what she does and just has this big heart for people and really knows the science also. So, I mean, I just got to give you guys kudos because you're usually, front line for the people coming in to get the assistance the medical assistance that they need. So I just wanted to say that for sure because I don't know. I just find that you guys come with this heart and this passion along with just really understanding the science, like hands down, hands down. And I won't knock my doctor, but she knew a lot. Let me just put it that way.
Well, and I will say this because there is, like Kim was talking about, having respect for medical professionals. There is a lot of kind of salt thrown on the name of medical professionals right now. Just we have a lot of folks coming to us because they've done their Google research and they have things that they want or things that they've read. And there is a lot of science that we had to learn in the medical profession. And I think that, to your point, our system is broken. And so it can be difficult for folks to engage the way they want to engage with you, to give you the heart, to give you the time. And so I'm so glad that you have a provider that had the availability to do that and that you benefited from the education that she received. So, there's a lot to that. So thank you so much for the shout out and for acknowledging that all forms of healing have their place.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. This is so good, Michele. So talk to people about what you want them to start to really recognize for themselves when they leave the show tonight.
I think one of the biggest takeaways and values of the conversation that I've had tonight that I really want to impress upon people is that where you are right now has nothing to do with where you're destined to be.
Mm-hmm.
That with Gabe and his life on earth and what he gave, that his gift keeps giving.
Yeah.
Because where he was, his situation had nothing to do with the destiny of his name and his cause.
Amen.
And so with where you are today, sometimes it can be, well, Michele, I'm not where I want to be. We can, no matter how much we have, feel that we are in deficit and not have the peace that I now know came from addressing the stresses and the untold stories and the things you were running away from in life.
Yeah.
So what I want you to take away is, yes, where I am right now has nothing to do with who I'm destined to be, and I better get busy about walking towards who I am destined to be.
Yeah.
So if that requires dusting off some of your stressors, if that requires identifying them and starting to get in tune with your body, let's get busy. Because you got impact and valuable things to offer as your unique puzzle piece genius.
Yeah.
That you are in this world. There's something that you can do that none of us can do. So I'm going to need you to get out of the distraction of the stresses of your life and get busy towards walking towards that destiny of who you're supposed to be.
And I'm going to even add to that to say, once you do that, you'll start to see those stresses start to lift
Oh my gosh.
away when you start to operate in who you are supposed to be. So I love that. Let's get busy. Let's get busy being who we're supposed to be.
You around here swimming around like a fish and knowing you're a giraffe. Come on now.
That's right.
You got stuff to do.
That's right. And that's a whole nother show. Right? When you just made that analogy, because oftentimes, and I can admit this, right? Full transparency, when I decided to become an entrepreneur, and I was trying to do it everybody else's way. Because there's so much information. The information is a gift and a curse, right?
Yes.
That we have at our exposure. So just watching everybody else do what they do. So listen, do it your way. Listen to God, and I say God on this show. But listen to God, and go do what Michele said, and go inside. And you'll start to relieve the stress, and you'll really start to live out, who you're meant to be. I'm going to say I had a come to Jesus moment when, I was out there doing it, and God was like, I didn't tell you to completely, like, I was doing it the wrong way. Let me just put it that way, because I'm going to be fully transparent. People need to hear this, because it's not what it looks like on social media. Let me just put it out there. So I was doing it the wrong way. And he said, I didn't tell you to completely give up everything that I had given you before you became an entrepreneur. And gave me something. And for me to survive, let's be clear about that. That was one part of it, but it was also for me to recognize who I'm meant to be as well, and to take the journey in a different manner than how I originally thought I was supposed to take it. So, and I'm still learning it along the way, because of, how he showed me different things in this process. So I'm saying to everybody, it doesn't need to look like everybody else. You heard Michele say, if you're out here trying to live like a fish, or you're a giraffe. That's the perfect analogy. The perfect analogy. It doesn't need to look like anybody else, because you will stress yourself out. We've been talking about stress tonight. You will stress yourself out trying to make it look like somebody else.
Listen, there's so much feedback that we receive from our own bodies. When we're doing it in a way that's difficult, when you walking uphill, when you're swimming upstream, it's messages. Like, maybe there's a different way. Maybe there's, because in full transparency, sometimes we dip into listening to ourselves, and ourself ain't the best voice.
That's for sure.
Sometimes ourself ain't the best voice. Remember, we got traumas, we got stuff that, you know,
That's right.
it's some holes in the vessel. You know, I'm just saying.
That's right.
Sometimes we ain't the best voice, but we get that constant feedback, right? You know when stuff is moving right and feeling good. It's like, man, that's a miracle. That happened exactly the way. Okay, God, I see you. That's the way I was supposed to walk.
Yeah.
I know that whole entrepreneurial piece, but even in the leaders that I deal with, you're working with Becky in accounting. Becky done threw you under the bus because she said this about you, and you know, there's all these ways that we interact with one another that is giving us feedback.
Yeah.
That didn't feel good. Okay, well, why that didn't feel good? Why are you so offended? Why that stressing you out? Oh, because I still got a fear of inadequacy, or I still have that imposter syndrome oh yeah, that's what it is. It's not necessarily even Becky.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that because, you know, your own voice, check it too.
Yes. 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 So I'm going to end this by saying, let's get busy. Like Michele said, in Michelle's words, let's get busy, everybody. We just really appreciate you here. We want you to be able to live your best life. That's what whole living is all about from every perspective. And I'll give just quick words here at the end because I was watching a video that was sent to us by our mentor, and it was Jesse Itzler. He is for us women out there who love the women entrepreneurs out there. I'm a big fan of oh my gosh, and why does her name escape me? Sarah Blakely. I'm a big fan of Sarah Blakely from Spanx, right? Just the businesswoman that she is. And her husband did an interview, and it was one of the best ones that I've seen. But he talks about operating at your best in every aspect of your life. And that should be a daily walk. And you should be intentional about operating from the health perspective, relationships, business, being a parent. Like he just talked about, you know, kind of taking accountability for it all. And that's true success right there. Just being at your best every day, doing the best that you can do for every facet of your life. So you heard it here. We're getting busy in all of those areas. I appreciate you, Michele.
Thank you.
I thank you for coming on.
Always appreciate being in your presence, my soul sister, and allowing me to be with the Whole Living Show. I hope to hear more and more about how y'all walking towards the person you're destined to be. Get busy.
Amen. 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 I couldn't have put it better. So that's it, everybody. We will see you next week. We will have the ladies of the Radical Press here once again at 7 p.m. next Wednesday. Take care.